So good morning, everybody. I'm happy to welcome you to this Rector seminar on behalf of UNICA. As you may have already seen in the opening slide, we kindly invite the participants to ask their questions in the chat, and the chairs will address them at the end of each session in the Q&A session. So I'm now honored to give the floor to Rector Igor PAPIČ for his welcome address to the seminar.
Thank you, Laura. So dear colleagues, dear friends, it's a pleasure for me to welcome you on behalf of the University of Ljubljana and also on behalf of the Utopia Alliance to this second part of UNICA Rector Seminar, Interdisciplinary and Intersectoral Education and Research in Modern Universities. The first part, organized 2 weeks ago, was dedicated to education, and this one, the second one, is dedicated to research. I mentioned before, 2 weeks ago, that the seminar was originally planned for April 2020 as part of our university centenary celebration and also as part of the celebration of 400 years of higher education in Slovenia. But of course, due to the well-known COVID circumstances, the seminar was postponed to this year, to these dates and so on. And of course, anyway, I'm glad that we are today together for the second time, although we are sitting in different parts of Europe. I would like to take this opportunity to thank our colleagues at the University of Ljubljana for organizing these two events. Special thanks, of course, goes to the UNICA office, Luciano, and of course to our speakers and session chairs. The University of Ljubljana is a member of Utopia Alliance. Our alliance puts students at the center and prepares them for the society of 2050. Teaching them how to tackle technological and sociological challenges. And considering this, it is clear that we strongly support interdisciplinary and intersectoral education and research. 2 weeks ago, I learned what is the exact difference between multi, inter, and transdisciplinary. And according to today's program, we will also have some interesting presentations and hopefully discussions. In the first part, we will talk about the challenges of interdisciplinarity. In the second part, the subject is collaboration with companies, how we can share good practices. So by way of conclusion, I wish us a successful seminar. I truly hope we will make a progress in defining some important issues of interdisciplinary and intersectoral research. Thank you very much, and back to you, Luciano.
So good morning to everyone. A very warm welcome from me as well. I'm Luciano SASO, I'm the president of UNICA. Welcome to this important webinar on interdisciplinary and intersectoral research in modern universities, organized in cooperation with the University of Ljubljana and with the network Utopia. Is really would like to mention that this cooperation with the university alliances is very important for UNICA, because at the moment UNICA has 55 universities and 36 of them have been successful in the European University Initiative. So we are very proud of that. I think is a very important result, and we are trying to organize events with different alliances. As mentioned by Rector PAPIČ, the first part of this webinar already was organized in cooperation with Utopia, and also in the past we organized events together with Civis, and I really would like to have other opportunities to cooperate with the other university alliances. I would like to thank very much the University of Ljubljana, Rector PAPIČ, Barbara Novak, Elena Dershak-Stuec for having worked very hard on the planning and organization of the program, which is really interesting in my opinion. I would like to thank the two chairs of the sessions and all the participants. Looking forward to learning and being present at their presentations. I would like to thank very much the UNICA office in Brussels with Laura Brossico, Vicky Xonka, Alexandra Duarte, and Laura Colò. And now, without further ado, I would like to leave the floor to Ivanka POPOVIĆ, Rector of University of Belgrade, who will share a session on the challenges of interdisciplinarity.
Thank you very much, Luciano. Welcome to all. Greetings from Belgrade and the University of Belgrade. It's my great pleasure to open this first session of today's program. We are talking about the challenges of interdisciplinarity, and it's truly a challenge to look at all of the aspects from strategic to daily operation of how these programs work and what is important when we think about initiating them. So as we have quite a tight program, I will start with the first presentation, Embracing Interdisciplinarity, Good Practices from the Doctoral Studies at the University of Ljubljana, where we will have 3 speakers. We shall start with Professor Anna PLEMENITAŠ from the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Ljubljana. So please, Professor, will you please inform us of the experiences of the University of Ljubljana?
Thank you, Professor POPOVIĆ, for this kind introduction. I am the first one of the 3 speakers which will present our doctoral study programs at the University of Ljubljana. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers of this seminar for giving us the opportunity to present or to share with you good practices in doctoral studies at the University of Ljubljana. As examples of good practices, we will present 3 interdisciplinary doctoral programs, each with different or specific goals and emphasis. And as a coordinator, I will start with the biomedicine. Biomedicine was the very first interdisciplinary doctoral program at the University of Ljubljana, organized at the University of Ljubljana, and the first call for enrollment goes back to 1999. So biomedicine was organized to educate highly qualified experts in the fields of life and health sciences that are capable of performing creative and independent scientific research work, solving scientific problems with disciplinary approach, critically assessing research results, and developing new research methods and transferring knowledge into practice. The emphasis of the program lies in research, interdisciplinarity, and collaboration. So to achieve these goals and emphasis, the 5 faculty members of the University of Ljubljana and 3 national research institutes with their internationally recognized experts and equipment that is necessary to launch the program were invited to share the knowledge and to participate in the organization of this interdisciplinary doctoral program. So this program, biomedicine, covers 11 different scientific fields in life and health sciences, and each year we have between 160 and 180 students that enroll the program. So how does the program manage this high number of scientific fields and high number of students? The program is organized in a way that each scientific fields has a coordinating, participating faculty. So Faculty of Medicine coordinates 6 of the scientific fields that are closely related to research in medicine: biochemistry and molecular biology, basic medicine, clinical medicine, neurosciences, public health. And this year we will launch medical microbiology, very modern according to this corona situation in globally. Then veterinary faculty is coordinating of veterinary medicine, pharmacy, clinical biochemistry, and laboratory biomedicine and psychology is coordinated by Faculty of Pharmacy, and genetics by biotechnical faculties. Additionally, each scientific field has a coordinator and a deputy coordinator, and they are responsible for organization and implementation of the program. Now, the biomedicine is a 4-year doctoral study program, and a core curriculum structure is presented here. The program is very research oriented. In the first year, although in the first and second year they have some organized courses. In the first year, the students take obligatory core courses, second year elective courses, which are of two natures, theoretical and research elective courses. But even in the first year, half of the credits are dedicated to research. In the second year, the students have to present their topic of the doctoral dissertation. And at this point, the 3 or 4 member committee is nominated for each student. I should also mention that prior to enrollment, each student has to choose the mentor or supervisor of his doctoral dissertation. And the third and the fourth year is, of course, dedicated to research. And the program is completed with a public defense of the dissertation. Now, I should also mention that the graduates of biomedicine are well employable, and there are a lot of diverse possibilities for their employment from academia, research institute, pharmaceutical industry, health institution, public administration, to companies and other institutions that employ experts and researchers with the highest level of education. And with this, I would switch the gear to Professor ŽGAJNAR, who will present environmental protection.
Thank you. Can you maybe stop sharing?
Yes, just I have to have this. Oh, where is this?
While you are doing that, please keep in mind that more than half of the time for your presentation has passed. Thank you.
Okay. So, sorry. Is it okay or not again? Sorry. Do you see my slide?
Yeah, we see 2 slides. I mean,
Okay.
On full screen.
with one on the right.
Is it okay if I stay in this mode to save some time?
Okay, please move on because time is moving.
I know.
Yeah. Although it would be better if we had the full screen.
I don't, sorry. Sorry, I
It's
don't.
fine now. Fine.
Is it okay or not?
It's fine, please continue.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Andreja ŽGAJNAR GOTVAJN. I'm the program coordinator for environmental protection. And environment is, of course, one of the topics in our everyday life, which is very usual understand as interdisciplinary. I'm working with the water, and we are all aware that water is all around us, used in different situations. So it is somehow obviously that this study has been one of the first interdisciplinary studies at the University of Ljubljana. And because it connects all aspects of our life, from technical sciences to natural sciences, and of course, biomedicine, medicine, and social sciences and humanities. So it is somehow natural to link within this study 30 members of the University of Ljubljana, from biotechnical faculty to faculty of economics, social sciences, civil engineering, and the rest which are listed here. And the main goal of our program is to qualify our candidates in scientific thinking and of course also solving the very demanding scientific problems in the area of environmental protection, which interdisciplinary, transdisciplinary approach to be able to deal with them. We have coordinators of these 5 here listed scientific areas from different faculties. And of course, the program is quite comparable to the program which was introduced before. The study took 4 years, but we have only 10 to 15 candidates per year. And as a specific, we required, besides the selection of the mentor, also obligatory selection of the co-mentor, and they both have to come from different scientific disciplines, or maybe we can say from different faculties. And there is also a lot of individual research work, up to 75%. We have in the first year, as in biomedicine, one of the methodological courses, and then we have some core and elective courses. And here you can see some examples of the titles of the PhDs which were accomplished in the last 12 years. There were like 40 of them, but only 10% of the students were out of Slovenia, so from abroad. I would also like to emphasize that we try to invite foreign students, so we organize several summer schools in the field of environmental protection and natural disaster. We also have quite intensive web page with more than 100 video lectures, which are available for our students for the independent study. And we try to develop some methods in long distance learning or blended learning, and also organize meetings with different people from European Union, which then can also bring closer our students the whole structure of the European project and how to apply, and give them also the opportunity to proceed with their career after they have finished their study. So thank you. I was really very quick, and now I would like to ask Professor Janez STARE to finish our presentation with some facts on statistics.
Yeah, thank you. Can you stop sharing?
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
Can you see this now? Okay.
Professor, actually the time is gone, so if you could please be quite compact in your presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll present very shortly, as you say, programming statistics. I like to think of statistics like this, and this was my original title of my talk. So statistics, in the sense of interdisciplinarity, does take from other fields, mostly from mathematics, to have the theoretical background, but its main role in research is certainly supporting other fields. So working together with other fields in finding new things. In some areas, this collaboration is rather old and decades old, and it resulted in new names like biostatistics, psychometrics, econometrics, you could say quality control and so on, because special methods were needed for specific problems like survival analysis, for example, in medicine. So the above is reflected in our study in participating faculties, in study modules, and diverse dissertation. We are quite proud that we have very theoretical and also very applied dissertations, PhDs. So these are the faculties that participate, and I have to say that this is rather unique, not unique, but rather rare in the world, because usually the statistics is under some faculty. Here the organization is like this, so many participating faculties, and we find this very useful, very good. And we have these modules, so every student chooses one of the modules, studies that, specializes in that. There are quite some career prospects. I would have to, say that more has to be done about this in Slovenia, certainly. And to conclude, I'll have a twist on the Robert Frost's poem, Miles to Go, so we cannot sleep. So, I think we are on a good track, but there's still things to be done. I hope I was quick enough.
Thank you very much, Professor STARE, and to all of the colleagues from Ljubljana. We are really have learned a lot about the efforts you are putting into your interdisciplinary programs, and they seem very interesting for the students with very good career prospects. So now we will move on to the second presentation that will be given by Professor Jens KREISEL from the University of Luxembourg. and on the topic of enabling interdisciplinarity through the establishment of an Institute of Advanced Studies in Luxembourg. So please, Professor, we are very interested to hear what you have to say.
Thank you very much. Good morning to everybody. So I would like to share with you the journey we have taken since 1.5 years or 2 years in reinforcing interdisciplinarity at our university. I guess you can see the screen, hopefully. Yes. So I think one of the very central points when you go into these kinds of initiatives is what is the starting point. And I think it is important to underline that the starting point of our initiative was the university community. It was not a top-down approach, even though we've been supporting this, but it was requested from the university community. They have been pointing out that interdisciplinarity is very important, but that they feel it is chronically difficult to fund or organize this. They even said that the university is often perceived as silos, making it difficult to having these collaborations. There was a perception that high risk and kickstarting funding was missing. And they believed that interdisciplinarity plays an important role in attracting high-profile international visitors, talented PhDs and postdocs, and it is also an instrument for attraction and retention of good people. So we decided that the university really needed to improve this interdisciplinary setting, and we have seen that the faculties and centers couldn't organize it themselves. So it was clear that we needed a visible sign and a university-wide structure to enable this. So in the reflection of appropriate instruments, we very quickly saw that so-called institutes for advanced studies are an international reference for combining excellence, interdisciplinarity, and internationality. When you look into this, it is interesting that there are basically 2 forms of IAS. There is the traditional American IAS model. The example is basically Princeton, which is a university external and very well-funded research institution. There is a second model, which are the university-based IAS, and they are brought together in a network of different institutes throughout Europe. And this could be called rather the European model. You also have it in Asia, you also have it in Israel, for instance. So we've been opting for the second right-handed university-based IAS. As a start, we have been fixing our main missions, which really is about leveraging bold and interdisciplinary research at the forefront of science. So the key is here the interdisciplinarity. And we wanted it also to be a symbol of the values we would like to have at the university of excellence, interdisciplinarity, and you guess so in Luxembourg, internationality is something very, very strong. But ultimately, perhaps a word describing it even better is the word collaboration. We really want to build bridges and enhance collaboration within the university, with international visitors and with the society. And we also would like to have this as a point of attractiveness of the university. And I can just tell you that I've managed to retain already 2 professors of the university by providing them a really interdisciplinary working environment. So one of the main aspects in the beginning is to select the instruments, how you would like to do this. So the first decision we have taken is that there is no topical focus. So we consider that priorities are everywhere, strategic priorities, policies. There are in EU funding instruments, there are in national funding instruments, and they're coming directly from the government. So we resisted in saying that there should be a focus. So we never say it should be digital or it should be sustainable or healthy. It is entirely open to counterbalance the strong policy impact we've got from outside. In terms of instruments, we have been reflecting on 4 instruments. The first one is the attraction of distinguished scientists and thinkers. So we include in this specifically also people from the society, from politics, from arts, so not only scientists. So it's not only these standard invited professors. The second is the central element of our IAS are the so-called audacious projects, where we would like to have only really risky projects. We would like to have projects where we would not dare submitting them to Europe or to our national agency. They have to be at the forefront, and they're basically kickstarting projects, and they have to be interdisciplinary. So it is a rule that they have to be submitted by 2 co-PIs of different departments or faculties. So the very notion of a principal investigator does not exist. Only a co-principal investigator does exist. The third one is attracting PhDs and postdocs. And the fourth one are brainstorm meetings with, let's say, 15 to 20 people maximum. But as you know, when you bring in the best experts from the world, this can very rapidly become quite expensive. The idea is to have an outcome out of this in terms of white papers, ideas best for European projects, international collaborations, and kickstarting really new fields. We would like to see this not as individual instruments, but as instruments which can be combined. So perhaps we can combine a very attractive project with a very visible international leader in the field. And on the top of this, we would like to organize a brainstorm meeting where we bring in the best people of the world around a topic. So an important part, of course, when you speak about interdisciplinarity is how do you select the projects? And this is possibly the very tricky part. And we know that many of the funding agencies fail in doing this. And we are afraid also of failing in this. So what we have been thinking is that we would not see it only as an evaluation procedure, but as a scientific event. So the idea is that two co-PIs present a project in front of an expert committee, which is in fact the 5 people internal from the university and 5 external. But the originality is that it is open to the university community. So each person, each professor, each PhD, each postdoc of the university can participate to the moment of evaluation, and by this see how interdisciplinary it is. We believe also that this could be interesting to the community in showing, well, I've seen a project that was ultimately really perhaps more interdisciplinary and better constructed or more bold than what I proposed myself. So obviously we have failed in 2020 doing so because of the pandemic crisis. We have done this online, which is not really what we're wishing for. But the ultimate idea is making out of this at the same time an evaluation and a scientific event. So we've been very curious with that kind of setting, what kind of people of the university we could motivate for submitting projects. And here you see basically around this, you see the 3 faculties with 13 departments. You also see 3 interdisciplinary research centers, and the lines represent the interdisciplinary projects which have been submitted. So the first conclusion is that it goes across the entire university. So we have succeeded in mobilizing the entire university in submitting something. The second point is, and which is I think of significant importance, is almost half of the PIs are from co-PIs, I should say, are from social science and humanities and from STEM. We know that in usual project submissions to the European Commission or to the national funding body that we've got a much higher center of gravity in STEM. So this approach has mobilized to a very large extent people from social science and humanities. And in terms of gender balance, we have a gender balance of 30% of female professors, which perhaps does not appear very much, but it is significantly higher than the number of female professors we have at the university. So it has also promoted this. So this has gone into a selection process, and this is the outcome I wanted to show with you. So obviously we go to a lower number of projects. So 10 projects have been funded in the first round, and you see which one have been selected. You can see that they again go around the entire university, but you also identify hotspots. We have, for instance, a hotspot in law. We've got a hotspot in physics and material science, one in ICT, which is the interdisciplinary center in the bottom left, and one in systems biomedicine, which is the bottom right. What is interesting is if you would put on the top of this where our 14 ERC grantees are sitting, you would see that there is a very strong correlation between excellence, interdisciplinarity, and succeeding in this, which has been sending out a very strong signal to the university. A second point I would like to underline is that also in the selected projects, we've got a relatively good balance between social science and humanities and the STEM fields. We've got even some more female co-PIs. So we believe that we mobilize the entire university. This selection has had absolutely nothing politically. The council has asked me at some point, said, Jens, it's up to the university finally to decide what you would like to have. And I said, no, it's up to you. So this is really the outcome out of a thorough selection process. It is not politically wished to having this equilibrium. So I will be quick by finishing, just showing you 3 examples of what we call the audacious projects. On the left-hand side, it's a collaboration between a sociologist, a biologist, and a medic, reflecting on the relationship between the socioeconomic status. Then what has this as in terms of food as an impact on the gut microbiome, and how does this trigger dementia? So this is really exactly the kind of project we are looking for. The second project is between an economist and the theoretical physicist, one possibly of our most brilliant scientists we've got at the university. And they are looking together into data from economics, trying to disentangle correlation and causality in the definition of well-being in the society. And the third topic is a collaboration between a person in law and a computer scientist, looking into how we can make AI-supported decisions robust in legal issues. So my concluding remarks is that we are in the first phase of setting up the IS. We have already realized that it is a very visible signal and a very visible symbol that the university concretely wants to reinforce interdisciplinarity. It is concrete. I think that's what our community likes. We have managed in the very first call to mobilize the entire university community. We hope that this stays like this. It is by this community building, when I bring together these people, it's fantastic. Our ultimate aim in the next steps is to have this as an additional door to the exchange with society, to attract talents and to have also retention of our best talents at the university. And for those of you who are interested in more information, you can look at the given webpage link. Thank you very much.
Professor KREISEL, thank you so much. I think this was a very enlightening presentation, especially regarding the strategies, how to set up an interdisciplinary system within a university, especially for those universities that have long traditions of single disciplines. So thank you very much. Moving on, from the University of Lausanne, Professor Francois Bussy, on the challenge of interdisciplinarity in a disciplinary-based research system, insight from everyday life at the University of Lausanne. And this is now, I think, the next step